Hello. I don't know how I'm looking to you. I look very pale on here. If I do look very pale, I'm actually better than I look. Anyway, if you were with us last month, you may recall we delved into some ancient prophecies from Ezekiel chapter 38 and considered their relevance to Russia today. We're going to start again in Ezekiel 38 this month, where you may remember Russia is throwing its weight about and invading what this chapter calls a land of unwalled villages, a peaceful and unsuspecting people. If you put that into this chapter's context, it's not referring to what's presently going on in Ukraine. But history tends to repeat itself, since nations, like people, have a personality, and like people, repeat their behaviour. I want us to begin this month inside verse 13, where we read this: "The merchants of Tarshish and all her strong lions will say to you, have you come to plunder? Have you gathered your hoards to loot, to carry off silver and gold, and to take away livestock and goods, and to seize much plunder?" There are good economic reasons for invading Ukraine. Never mind all this Putin guff about Ukraine being part of Russia. Ukraine is one of the great breadbaskets of the world. It has huge deposits of valuable minerals. It is a prize worth winning. And what is the West's reaction? In the Old Testament, Tarshish means as far west as you can go. You'll remember that Jonah, when he's trying to escape from going to Nineveh, takes a boat to Tarshish, as far away from Nineveh as he can get. So Tarshish and all her strong lions here refers to the West and its colonies, its offspring and allies. And what does the West and its offspring do about Russian aggression? Nothing. Have you come to plunder? Have you gathered your hoards to loot? And so on. You can hear the plaintive whine in their voices as they say it. Britain has sent arms to Ukraine, as have other Western nations. So to do will cost us economically. The French and Germans, seemingly, aren't prepared to pay such a price, and, as I understand it, have sent no arms at all. Meanwhile, a lot of Western shadowboxing has been going on. The United Nations has condemned Russia, and Western politicians have threatened Putin with being found guilty before an international court of war crimes. What the dickens is the use of that? Am I being cynical if I think it's people doing nothing and trying to look useful? They've just started on an international court on war crimes about what happened in Sudan 20 years ago. Putin will be dead in 20 years' time. Why should he care? I've been reading the end of the first book of Samuel in recent weeks. It records the final decline and death of King Saul. Towards its end, the prophet Samuel spells out the curse of his doom. Because you did not obey the Lord and carry out his fierce wrath against the Amalekites, the Lord has done this to you today. Saul is hauled before God's judgment, not for something that he did, but for something he failed to do. I'm reminded of the words of the confession in the old Book of Common Prayer. We have left undone those things which we ought to have done, and we have done those things which we ought not to have done. Notice which Archbishop Cranmer puts first: those things which we ought to have done. At present, as the Ukrainians regain some of the ground they've lost, the full horror of what the Russians has been up to is being revealed. in the long term? Will just the Russians receive God's judgment for what's been going on? Or will the West be found guilty, in effect, of being their allies? Bye-bye.